Alex, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics today, which is coming out. So coming out is very different for everyone. Everyone has their own experiences. So for the first couple minutes of this, I'm going to talk about my own personal experiences. And then I'm going to give some advice on coming out. So this is probably going to be like a 5-6 minute long video, hopefully. I don't know, maybe. It's probably going to be the longest one I've posted. Alright, so let's begin. Alright, so I have always really kind of felt the way that I do now, but it's just a matter of coming out so that everyone else is on the same page as me. And that's really how most coming out stories go. So I'm going to start from when I was really little. I kind of had that typical trans childhood where I always did all the more masculine things. I always had very masculine toys. I had over 300 Hot Wheels cars at one point. That's a lot of Hot Wheels cars, like, let's be real. I always kind of gravitated towards more boyish things. So my favorite shirt when I was little was actually a Tigger shirt, because my favorite show was Winnie the Pooh. And it had Tigger right in the middle, and then it said Tigger across the top, like right there. Yeah, and ignore the fact that I'm not binding right now. I really just don't feel like binding, so. Alright, and then as I was growing up, I remember in elementary school, every time after I'd get out of gym, because gym was not at that time segregated by gender, I really felt kind of weird going into the women's restroom. And I always kind of wondered, like, what the men's restroom looked like. And, like, going into the girls' bathroom is something that, you know, you should feel comfortable with. I mean, you're going in there to pee. Like, I mean, going to the bathroom should be, like, the most comfortable thing ever, but it's not. And it never was for me. So I, from a very young age, would avoid going to the bathroom in public. And I still kind of do that. I'm going to move over my camera a bit. I still kind of do that, but not as much as I used to anymore. So, because I always just felt really uncomfortable. Once I reached about, like, I want to say about 2nd grade, I had this crush on a girl. And my entire world was, like, flipped over. Because, like, 1st grade, I had a crush on a boy. And that's typical, apparently, for 1st graders. But in 2nd grade, I didn't have a crush on a boy. And everyone was like, what's going on? And particularly me, I was like, I don't know what this is. I just really want to be her friend. Like, really want to be her friend. And, like, things like that continued. Like, it would go back and forth between a boy and a girl and a boy and a girl and a boy and a girl. It would always switch. And people thought that was kind of weird. And, well, I thought it was kind of weird. I didn't really tell anyone what else was going on. I would just kind of pass it off as they're my friend. So, I mean, people thought I was pretty normal. I didn't think I was very normal. Middle school came, and it was around 5th or 6th grade that I remember laying in bed one night, and I was like, am I gay? Am I a lesbian? What's going on with my life? And I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, I think I might be. Let's put this off till later. And apparently a lot of people do that, so I did actually put it off till later. I switched schools for 8th grade, and I was bullied really bad because I have always been very masculine. And at my old school, I was able to hide under our uniforms, but in my new school, I would just kind of wear, like, a t-shirt and some sweatpants every day. Like, I was comfortable as hell, but apparently that was a problem with everyone else. So, you know, happens. And, yeah, that kind of continued through 8th grade. 8th grade was a bad year. I came out as gay to my parents in 8th grade, and at this time I still identified as female. And I remember the reaction was pretty good. Like, my parents were just kind of like, we kind of predicted that would happen. Well, I really just came out to my dad first. I didn't really say anything to my mom. And for freshman year went really well because I was able to be openly gay on campus, and everyone was really accepting to it. Like, that was a whole new world to me, was acceptance for being me. Wow, this video is going to be longer than I thought it was. Right. So then sophomore year came around, and that's when I came out as trans. Now, I was dating someone over the summer, and I remember it was my dad's wedding was that summer, and I had to wear a dress for the wedding. And I remember, like, completely protesting that because I have never felt comfortable with dresses. Like, I've always protested being in dresses. Like, dresses are awful. And they forced me to wear a dress for the wedding. And I remember literally while I was on that trip messaging a friend and being like, I think I'm trans because I'm not comfortable with anything that's going on right now. And I already had a couple other trans friends too, which was really convenient for me because I was able to go to them and be all like, is this how you feel? Because this is how I feel. And particularly there was one, I'm not going to reveal his name, but he went to the same youth group as me, and he was the only other trans person there. And I was talking to him, and I was like, oh my god, you feel exactly how I feel. Oh my god. So he kind of helped me come a little bit more to terms with, hey, this is who I am, but I can still be happy and be trans. Because until that moment, I had only ever seen really just disappointing stories of people being trans or people not being accepted, whereas he kind of opened up my world. And he was the same age as me, too. So I was like, oh my God, this kid. So it was really eye-opening to be able to see another trans person be happy. And at the end of that summer, I came out to all of my friends. First, I came out as genderqueer, and I used to be all like, my old name was Desiree, and I would always go by Des, which is actually technically a male name. So I asked everyone to either call me that or to call me Alex, and they could switch back and forth. It would be whatever. And then literally 2 weeks later, I said, I want everyone to call me Alex. I'm male. This is how it's going to be. And my life was forever changed. It was like, it's like when you, oh my God, I can't even like describe it. When you open a door that like, and when there's light outside and you open the door and it's like, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I can see the world around me. That's what my mental state felt like. It was amazing. That was when I started sophomore year. Like I started my sophomore year of school like that the next week. I came to all my teachers and I was like, I want you to call me this. This is how this is going to be. And I need you to respect that. I need you to defend me. And most of my teachers got right on board. A couple of them asked some questions because they'd never really had a trans student before, but I kind of figured that would happen. And like, of course, they messed up pronouns. I mean, my voice sounds very feminine. It's just gonna happen, which is unfortunate. But we can't really expect people just to automatically accept things. So they all got on board with it though, and they realized that, hey, this is a real thing. We should be educating our students on this. So from there, I was actually able to take the advocate standpoint and actually educate my peers and stuff on it, which was really cool. I went to a camp that summer called Outdoors Camp, and that camp forever changed my life because it was like 3 weeks into school, and I was just kind of bummed because like everyone kept on misgendering me and people would keep on using the old name or making fun of me. And then I went to this camp, and this camp literally changed the game for me because it was the first time that everyone called me the right pronouns and called me the right name. And it was the first time I was able to actually express my gender in the way that I wanted to instead of trying to prove this form of like hyper masculinity. And it was amazing because it was the first time I had ever really been free in my life. And I cannot thank the people who I met there enough. And it was that weekend that I was able to also see more trans people who were able to live their life happy. A couple of them I have on my Facebook now, and one of them is married now. And now I'm like, that could be my future. I could be married one day and actually be having a successful career. He makes a lot of money. He has a very successful career as a salesperson, which is what I do. So, like, it was eye-opening to me because it was like, I could do that too. I'm not forever just going to be the person who's struggling to accept their identity and to move on and forward with their transition. So, my parents didn't really take it very well. I came out to my parents after that as trans. My dad was just kind of like, all right, whatever, it's okay. I don't quite understand it, but okay. And he still is kind of at that stage. My mom at first was like, this is not real. This is not going to happen. No, I don't accept this. And she's starting to come around now. It's been 3 years and she's starting to come around now. So really just give people time, I guess, is the best advice I can really give on that. My stepmom was not accepting at all. And my stepdad he's respecting of it, but he's not accepting of it, which I will take because he will respect it. And that's really all I want is people's respect. We can't demand acceptance. We can only demand respect by respecting others. So, yeah, that's my coming out story. It's 3 years later. I am about, let's see what day it is, the 28th. I am like 2 months away from starting testosterone. I have my first appointment in 2 months. So, look forward to that, I guess. I'm working on possibly starting my own company, which more details will follow about that eventually if I actually do. I'm currently being trained for management at where I work. I work retail. I'm not going to reveal where I work once again, just for social media policy reasons. And yeah, 3 years ago, I never thought that my life would be at this point, but here I am and it is. And that's an amazing feeling to be all like, oh my God, 3 years ago, I didn't see myself being successful. And now here I am. I get to be one of the more successful people in my life. And I'm actually returning to the same camp that I went to that first time again. which is going to be amazing because I'm able to give that experience to other people. So now we're going to go to the second part of the video, my advice on coming out. So my advice is to be patient, because really not everyone is going to be very accepting at first. Like, we can't demand acceptance as a community. By demanding acceptance, we encourage people to throw out their old values that they have held on to their entire lives and enter a pit of uncertainty. We can't force, oh my God, we can't force people through that. We need to be able to say, hey, I respect you and I respect your opinions, but because I respect your differences between you and I, you should respect it too. And from there, we can reach a mutual understanding of, hey, this is how I'm going to live my life, and this is how you're going to live your life. And that's really my view on coming out to anyone, whether it be politicians, whether it be your parents, is just realize that it's all about respecting each other. Like, if you're younger, it's going to be very hard to demand that respect because people are like, oh, you should respect your parents, but that's not the right mentality. It's hey, this is my life, and this is what I'm going to do with my life, and if you don't respect that, then I don't see myself respecting your opinions either. And, of course, don't say it like that. That would probably be absolutely awful. That'll lead to a lot of fights. But, you know. My other thing is be confident and come with resources. Like, if you're coming out to your parents and they don't know what transgender is, like mine didn't, like, they're not going to accept something that they don't know what it is. Like, that's like, it's like having someone enter a biology class and be given the final exam. Like, people don't do that. You have to be able to educate them. So, the person who's coming out, you need to have your resources too. Like, I connected my dad to PFLAG, and since then he's been a little bit more accepting. I don't really talk to him anymore for other reasons, but, you know, find those resources out there for parents. Be like, hey, I want to start going to this so that I can figure out who I am, because I feel like I'm this, but I want to make sure. Like, find a local youth center that focuses around LGBT youth. Find resources that you know can help you, because that is the most important part. And then find resources that can easily educate your parents, because though we know what we're feeling, it's very hard to explain to people what we're feeling. Like, it's very, very hard. Like, when I say I'm trapped in the wrong body, people still don't get it. Like, and when you try and explain it, like, imagine that you're trapped in the wrong body, people aren't going to understand that because they haven't ever felt that before. You need to be able to come at it with an approach that they're going to understand. That's really my advice, though, is just make sure it's all about understanding and mutual respect. Because in the end, that's what really matters. Also, if you do come out and your parents are unaccepting, or whoever you're coming out to is unaccepting, remember that everything is temporary. Because let's say you're 15 like I was and my parents were really unaccepting. That's only 3 more years left till I was able to be on my own. At that point, I had already lived the amount of time that 3 years consisted of 5 other times. And that's the way that I approached it, was I've already been through this period of time before. I remember when I was 12, and now I'm 15. And now I can look forward to being 18. And you kind of have to look at it like that, because at that point, there is nothing that you can do. And it's unfortunate, but the most you can do is seek shelter and remember that it's only temporary. Everything that's bad in this world is only temporary. Anyway, that's all I've got for you on coming out. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. This video was really long. It ended up extending over 13 minutes, which is not something I planned on. So, yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe down below. Also, check out the video that I did for the Self-Made Men collab right here. Somewhere over here or over here. I don't know where I'm going to put it. It's going to be... I'm a sub for them, so I will be on there every once in a while, so be sure to check them out and subscribe to them. They're all amazing guys. They all have amazing experiences to share, so be sure to check it out. Have a good day, guys.